George W. Carey believed that the Bible is a coded manual for understanding the human body and achieving spiritual regeneration through biochemistry and inner transformation. His work interprets biblical symbols as metaphors for physiological processes and spiritual evolution. In his esoteric framework, the human body is a temple, and the scriptures are not just historical or moral texts, but allegorical guides to unlocking divine potential within. He argued that many biblical figures and places correspond to anatomical structures and biochemical functions. For example, Carey interpreted Bethlehem, traditionally known as the birthplace of Jesus, as a metaphor for the brain, the place where the Christ seed is born. This seed, according to Carey, is a sacred essence produced in the human body once a month, which must be preserved and elevated through the spinal column to the brain in order to achieve enlightenment. He referred to this process as the regeneration of the body, a concept rooted in the idea that spiritual salvation is not external, but internal, a biochemical and energetic refinement. The Christ, in Carey's view, is not a historical figure alone, but a symbol of the perfected human state, attainable through discipline, purity, and understanding of the body's chemistry. The River Jordan becomes the spinal cord through which the sacred oil must ascend. The crucifixion of Christ is interpreted as the crossing of this oil at the base of the skull, where it is crucified and then resurrected in the higher brain centers, leading to illumination. Carey also emphasized the importance of the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, which he saw as the throne of God and the seat of the soul. These glands, when activated through the proper biochemical and spiritual practices, allow the individual to experience divine consciousness. He believed that the body produces a sacred secretion, sometimes called the oil of Christ, which, if not wasted through excess or ignorance, can be transmuted into spiritual energy. In this view, biblical salvation is not about belief, but about physiological mastery. The parables and miracles of the Bible are allegories for inner processes. The Word made flesh is the divine principle incarnating in the human body, and the second coming is the awakening of this principle within each person. George W. Carey interpreted many biblical symbols as metaphors for anatomical structures and physiological processes, suggesting that the Bible is a coded map to spiritual regeneration through the human body. Here are more examples of these esoteric correspondences. Carey believed that Jesus represents the perfected spiritual principle within the body, the Christ seed, a sacred substance produced in the solar plexus once a month, which must ascend the spinal column to the brain for full illumination. The Virgin Mary symbolizes the pineal gland, the mother of spiritual consciousness, while Joseph corresponds to the pituitary gland, the father of physical regulation. Together, these glands form the Holy Family in the brain, governing both spiritual and bodily functions. The River Jordan is seen as the spinal cord, the pathway through which the sacred oil, sometimes called soma or chrism, travels upward. The baptism in the Jordan represents the activation of this energy as it begins its ascent. The crucifixion of Christ is interpreted as the crossing of this oil at the medulla oblongata, the Golgotha, or place of the skull, where it is metaphorically crucified and then resurrected in the higher brain centers. Bethlehem, traditionally the birthplace of Jesus, is reimagined as the solar plexus, the house of bread, where the Christ seed is born. The manger is the sacral region, the lowest part of the spine, where the seed begins its journey. The three wise men are symbolic of the three principal nerves or energies that guide the seed upward: the vagus nerve, the sympathetic nervous system, and the spinal cord itself. Carey also linked the 12 disciples to the 12 cranial nerves, each playing a role in transmitting divine consciousness throughout the body. The Temple of Solomon is the human body itself: Sol for sun, spirit; Om for vibration, sound; and On for matter, form. The Ark of the Covenant is the cerebellum, where sacred memory and divine law are stored. Carey's synthesis of anatomy, chemistry, and scripture offers a radical reinterpretation of religious texts, suggesting that the path to divinity lies not in worship, but in self-realization. His work bridges mysticism and science, proposing that the human body contains all the elements necessary for spiritual ascension. If only we learned to read the sacred code written within,